Well, hello there. My name is Dave Bila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of making the comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Larry Currier Mo's show right here, our co-producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any authorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Currier Schmo is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the discussion, and the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, if you're a viewer of WNIT, starting maybe within a week or so, you will hear my opening remarks being broadcast on WNIT Channel 26 out of South Bend. Because I appeared on the show and Donna asked me if I would open the show, so I opened the show on Channel 26 with these opening remarks to give our program a little PR. So I don't know if it's meaningful, but there's another thing cooking. Again, snide remarks. Snide remarks are being made about comments made on social media from the representatives of the Redevelopment Commission. Well, Gateway was established by the state of Indiana in 2014. And from 2014 until 2022, an edict was set by the state of Indiana for the Redevelopment Commission and its members, or who's ever involved in that, to report their dollars and cents to the Gateway organization. So for a period of 8 years, no reporting has been made whatsoever by the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. I did a little research. I got the minutes of 2014 meeting where it shows that they had that they had in their possession, in their checkbook, over $11 million. That's 2014 to 2022. I don't know how much, well, right now they've got about 15 million in their kitty. I'm just saying that the snide remarks should stop, because when you look at the amount of funds that they had in 2014 for economic development, why wasn't some of that money used? You think about it.
Do you get in trouble with the Redevelopment Commission?
Yeah.
Oh, you got in trouble with the Redevelopment Commission.
Well, they're making comments that individuals are making comments on social media that they don't know what they're talking about. Their attorney told me.
You're on social media? Okay.
I consider our program social media.
I hope not.
We're on aren't we on
YouTube?
YouTube, isn't that social media?
Yes, you're right. Keep going.
You know?
Yes, you're right.
Well, I'm just saying. Should the kettle be calling the pot black, or whatever that phrase is? Again, somebody better clean up their act first before they accuse me of not knowing what I'm talking about. Gentlemen?
Okay.
Well, let me start with a positive announcement about Michigan City. Not anything major, but certainly a positive announcement. The bridge is fixed, and as a result of that, for those of you that want to go to Washington Park, you can ride over our vintage bridge, which is still operational because they got it fixed. And so I came that way today just to make sure, and sure enough, it wasn't a problem. And with the weather out there, it was very nice. So if you want a nice little ride, take a ride over the bridge and get out of the park.
Yeah, it's a historical bascule bridge, right?
What?
It's a historical bascule bridge.
Yes.
Very rare.
Now, when I was a boy, that location where the bridge, just west of where the bridge is located, the old Smith Brothers Cough Drop Company. They came in and relocated here in Michigan City from New York. They produced cough drops, but the building, for some reason or another, maybe they went back. I believe they went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. But what replaced that Smith Brothers cough drop property just recently, within the last maybe 10 years, 10, 15 years or so, was a fountain. And this fountain, in order to rehabilitate the fountain, they projected a $750,000 a renovation project to revitalize the fountain. The fountain basically sits on a landmark here in Michigan City, and the park department thought it more feasible to demolish the fountain for another $250,000 rather than refurbish it.
They're going to demolish it.
They're going to demolish it according to the park department. The fact of the matter, we demolished this, we demolished Pullman Standard, the beautiful Italian marble building at the Pullman Standard property that had panes of Italian marble setting on the outside, that was demolished. There are things, the old YMCA, I mean, you could go on, the Spalding Hotel,
When's the South Shore facade going to come back?
they said it, I believe, I heard sometime in the middle of this year. The facade has already been in place. You know, they're putting something, but it's still covered with plastic. I guess they still have some mortar to do or something like that.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is, we continue to tear down and tear down and tear down our heritage. And there's going to come a time when there's going to be no recollection. Look at with the high school situation. We had Rogers, we had Elston, now we got Michigan City High School.
Well, what happened to the first high school?
Well, they merged with.
Oh, the very first one right here.
Well, yeah, right here. Yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah, just down the block, right? The first one was
Yeah. Again,
We're down, right?
we've got a mindset in this community.
the very first high school.
Yeah.
Right over here on Pine, right? Isn't that where it was?
Right, yeah,
It was
yeah,
tore down?
yeah, that was torn down.
These boards and organizations that we have in this community
So
think
was the old
it's
esports school,
Yeah.
two of them.
yeah think it's more economical to tear it down like what they did with Memorial. We did it when we were on a council. We tore Memorial Hospital down, and it sat vacant for 50 years until now. They're going to build some 235 houses there, a building that consists of 500 units. Basically, it'll be subsidized housing in downtown Michigan City.
Wait, we had that before.
Well, it's coming back.
And we tore that down.
We did, yeah, we tore it down. I mean, there's a pattern established, and I see you have to have that.
I just magically had to have that sign.
I'll be darned.
That
So-
comes from the website for the redevelopment RFP, which I guess they got somebody now. I hope they have the money.
So it's going to be a government subsidized project. Trust me.
Yeah.
And if the redevelopment can help support this concept, they could also help the Michigan City Sanitary District in helping them clean out ditches within the city of Michigan City. They have the last redevelopment commission meeting authorized some money for vector control. They authorized almost $100,000 for vector control to cut grass and clean whatever vector control does. Well, if they can authorize money for vector control, they certainly can authorize money to the sanitary district so that the sanitary district can do their job and clean out ditches. Those pictures that I took 3 years ago, Tony, of the Monon ditch, nothing has changed in 3 years. Those culverts, those 3 6-foot culverts under the safe tracks are half full of crud. Water flow cannot go down to the level of Lake Michigan, which is 68 foot higher than the level of Strebel Pond. Water cannot go down and to water the area. Maybe the Redevelopment Commission, through its intellectual prowess, would consent to help the sanitary district clean out ditches. But everything that's said on this social media program is, in my mind, is being laughed at by the people that they don't know what they're doing.
I don't think the redevelopment commission can pay for maintenance. They can pay for a project which includes some enhancements,
Well, that's why I included,
but not maintenance.
yeah, that's why I included the sanitary district as the focal point.
Like if you made an enhancement of the ditch and the pipes and made them look prettier and a walking trail, then you could put in there the cleaning while you're fixing the ditch.
But they authorize money for vector control.
And Michigan City gets probably over $500,000 a year for drainage ditch cleaning that since 1974.
Right? Yep. I'm just saying, there are a lot of issues that, but the most important issue was I bought groceries. First of all, I believe in freedom of the press. All right? Because I've been a printer for all my life. I went to a local grocery store and I got my receipt And lo and behold, on the back of the receipt from the grocery store, there were 50% discounts for an entity up in New Buffalo to subscribe to the product they produce.
And you can't bring it to this state or you'll get arrested.
But a local grocery store chain is disseminating those coupons. Freedom of the
They're probably
press.
getting paid for it. I'm going to change the subject significantly.
I hope so.
Because,
I could go more.
well, I have been following the situation in terms of the tariffs that the Trump administration is proposing, what their goals and objectives are. And I think I've come to the conclusion that Michigan City has an opportunity if our Economic Development Commission and our Redevelopment Commission will do some hard work, get there ahead of time, and think ahead about what's going to happen. And let me just give you some numbers.
It's not hard work.
For our gross domestic product at the end of the first quarter, it appears that the automobile industry was functioning at 60% of capacity. So basically, just with the automobile factories that are still out there, we could theoretically add another 40%. Now, in addition to that, both Nissan and Honda have announced new plants coming into the United States. Where they will be located, we're not at this point sure. But as a result of that, we've got to start to think about how do we get one of these, or how do we become a supplier to one of these? Because Trump is planning on bringing these back. Some of the other things that he's looking at: copper, steel, and aluminum. The steel will take care of itself. The facilities are there. It's copper and aluminum where the problem is. There are only 4 aluminum smelters in the United States. As a result of that, we have to go to places like China, Indonesia, so on and so forth. Canada, in order to get aluminum into the United States. We have a factory in LaPorte that utilizes that aluminum, Howmet. We had an Alcoa plant. I don't know if that's still there or not. But Howmet definitely does. A smelter in the Kingsbury Industrial Park, which is exactly what that park was built for, heavy industry, would be fantastic. Now is the time to start looking at how can we attract an aluminum company such as Alcoa, which does have one of their former entities here in Howmet. How can we attract them to start to take a look at the Kingsbury Industrial Park? Because we are going to need smelters if we're going to bring aluminum back. Another thought I had is pharmaceuticals. And Trump has already said he wants to bring pharmaceuticals back to the United States. We have a major pharmaceutical, let me rephrase that. We have major pharmaceutical companies located just east of here, between here and Fort Wayne. We could go to those and start to find out what would it take to expand one of their facilities into a location that we might have. This is something that, again, our Economic Development Commission is going to have to work at. They need to get financial reports. I would start with Zimmer Holdings and go through those financial reports, find out what they're doing and what's applicable in Michigan City. There will also be other financial reports that they need to go through and understand and start to work with. In addition to that, I looked at a company called GE and GE Vernova. GE Vernova makes some of the absolute largest commercial aircraft engines in the world. These things are fantastic. They are huge. They take up ball fields in terms of the size. They have 5,200 suppliers. This is something that Trump is absolutely trying to bring back into the United States. The GE Vernova just announced a $1 billion increase to their facility in Cincinnati. That facility, or that corporation, has 5,200 different suppliers. Again, start through, take a look at where of those 5,200 suppliers could Michigan City / LaPorte County actually be able to recruit one of those or 5. I would think we easily ought to be able to recruit 5 of those suppliers into either LaPorte County or Michigan City or LaPorte. the minimum number, when you've got 5,200 suppliers, there's got to be 5 people, 5 companies out there looking for a place to locate. And we've got to start working at it. The other thing that has come up is they want to bring back military equipment. Well, when you're talking about military equipment, you're talking about aircraft, you're talking about tanks, you're talking about artillery, and this type of thing. And we ought to be able to get 1 or 2 of those types of facilities to locate in Michigan City /LaPorte County. And I think our Economic Development Commission has got to go to work. I know that they probably don't want to do this, but I'm sorry, you're management. And management is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In fact, when I reported aboard the Minesweeper, where I was assigned as engineering officer, when I was 22 years old and had no idea how all this worked, boy, did I learn a lot in a hurry. But when I went into the commanding officer for the first time, he started out by saying, don't worry about calling in if you're sick, because I'll call the hospital to find out where you're doing. That's the kind of management, not hourly. That's the kind of management that we got to start looking for. Because if those people can't produce, we got to get people out of there now and get people in who can produce. Period, end of sentence.
I think Mayor Angie will do a very good job, because you look at City of LaPorte and you have the planners and the economic development people, but it goes far, it's a far more powerful phone call. And I said this about ex-mayor Sheila, she could do it too, redevelopment. When that person calls and I want to go to the Microsoft the data plant they want in Chesterton and gone, and now Valpo says no, we have got to be making those. And I think Mayor Angie and I think ex-mayor Sheila can do a very good job. They released the name in the article I read of the people who are developing this plant for Microsoft. Get on the phone, because our planners and our economic development people can talk to those people. But boy, it's far greater weight when the mayor says, hey, I'm thinking I can help you on this, and we can look for, and I got a couple spots for you to look at. Why don't you come over and meet me for lunch, and I'll drive you around these spots. And a quick couple side notes is, when Oberle was mayor, he had a Crown Victoria that he drove, right? And it was good, he was conservative. And then Sheila, I think, she had a Tahoe. And I know it looks bad, but sometimes that, and I don't mean a Cadillac, but a nice Tahoe would be good for the mayor to call and say, come meet me for lunch, I'll drive you to these sites. I think the planner and the economic development needs something like that too. Not a Cadillac, but something that seats 5 or 6 people, nice to get in and out, and they are accountable. They drive these people, hey, meet me for lunch, and we'll go drive and look at the site. Get in my car, I'll pick you up, wherever. The airport, I'll come pick you up, and we'll go look at these sites. But the weight it holds is far greater, and I know Tom Dermody does this a lot. He gets there and makes those phone calls, and he meets people, and that helps his planner, his economic development people, Bert Cook, it helps them out immensely, because they see the guy who's going to lead the charge, or the girl that's going to lead the charge. They see that person. Now, when you're talking about getting some manufacturing or something into town, we're having a great debate in the United States about solar. And I think, solar's tough because it makes great solar power, it makes great power during the day. It doesn't make anything at night. But if we had manufacturing, maybe we entice the deal that if you bring in your Honda manufacturer, Nissan, whoever, GM plant, we will help you find some land, hopefully land that's not the best land, to put solar in, and you could power your manufacturing plant during the day when you work for free. And when your people come home at night, all it takes is a few LED lights to keep the manufacturing on. But boy, during the day, they ain't paying nothing for energy. That's the kind of things we need to think about.
And what's happening right now in Michigan City is Skylar York has an advancement, okay? He advanced, and a girl by the name of Wendy, V-A-C-H-E-T-T, Vachette. She is now the Public Works Director over the Redevelopment Commission.
Good.
She has got roughly 30.
Job to do.
She is roughly.
Put her to work. She's management.
Right. She has
Start
roughly
going through financial statements.
Well, 30 years worth of experience. I did a little background check on her. Her last job was in 2023 in Gary, Indiana. Now, I traverse to Gary, Indiana once a month for many years, and I've noticed the buildings have been torn down and development is being conducted. And so I'm just saying that the money that was allocated from the redevelopment commission's interest on the money that they have in the bank gave Schuyler an advancement and hired Wendy as the new public works director here in the city of Michigan City. So now we have somebody. The question is, can they produce?
Well, let me take this a little bit above that level. My question is, can NIPSCO produce? The problem that you see, we can't rely, these plants can't rely on solar. It might be a nice adjunct, and yes, you can get some nice PR out
Yeah,
of
if
it.
it's 80% of your power, it's better than nothing.
Well, let's do this. Let's think about a small solar, not a small nuclear.
Yeah.
Yes, so that
Oh, yeah.
plant is definitely guaranteed to run year-round. We need something like that. And my question is, can NIPSCO actually handle the power lines that are going to be required to handle this kind of a situation? What I get a little bit scared about is we've got an awful lot of people that have a prior association with NIPSCO. NIPSCO is one of the smallest, it's probably the smallest public utility when it comes to electricity in the country, and it's one of the smaller utilities in this entire area. We got farm areas that have utilities that are bigger than NIPSCO in terms of number of subscribers. We have got to make sure that the energy that this place needs is available and that they have the capacity to do it. And I'm saying we need to start looking at American Electric Power, AEP, and thinking that maybe the best situation for LaPorte County and Michigan City is for AEP to come up and just buy out. Not NIPSCO's gas. They are very good at that. But NIPSCO's electric portion.
For those of you who don't pay much attention to the trains going through town, NIPSCO had a long-term contract from the state of Wyoming for their low sulfur coal.
Yeah.
The coal pile that I have seen out there at the lakefront is growing. And I have also seen many trains going through town with coal loaded going up into Michigan. So maybe the deregulation that may take place by President Trump on the utilities of burning coal, maybe that's already in the works, and somebody is speculating maybe that's why all these train cars of coal are going through town.
Hopefully they're going through town and right up into Michigan. NIPSCO for their electric usage has to be operating off natural gas or nuclear.
But their coal pile is growing. That's all. NIPSCO's coal pile is growing.
Yeah, some of the biggest coal producing electric utilities are out the East Coast. Washington, D.C., New York, Baltimore, the old towns are still using coal-fired generators far, far greater than we can imagine. So there's a lot of coal that needs to go eastbound. And we know what happened in Pennsylvania. They really put the hurt on them and their coal miners, but they're starting to come back. So right now they're trying to come back, and the East and the West Coast coal is already here running, so they're going to be the first ones running those cars back to the East Coast. Because they need that coal. They need the energy. Yes, they're just doing some deregulation, and that's good. But I think AEP is a very good option for us, because if they get all their nuclear running, hopefully our electric bill goes down to near nothing.
They're already in eastern LaPorte County.
Yes.
Electric.
I&M got bought out by AEP. And I&M was, I lived with I&M Power. I thought it was fine. Once in a while it went out, and it took a while, but for the charge, it was. I remember my friends what they paid for NIPSCO. I was like, man, I'm glad I'm at I&M because it was far cheaper. And they were, wasn't the greatest always on power, but it was cheap, and I was willing to put up with it. I didn't, I don't need to pay 3 times the cost or whatever it was. So I had my power 24 hours a day. So I had I&M. It was good company. Now they're AEP, a subsidiary of AEP. So that's coming, and I think we have to be careful, because the days of transmission lines, I think in my lifetime, probably it will not be what we know it is today. We can't keep producing power and transmitting it through power lines for hundreds of miles. And now we got grid interconnect with high tension power lines, and we are running those at their maximum capacity. There's going to come a day, and I thought this week, that we have we're talking small nuclear reactors, modular nuclear reactors, say 10, 20, 50 kilowatts. Megawatts, right? Megawatts. Big watts. But maybe we ought to think about if somebody developed a 1 megawatt nuclear, and it would service a neighborhood instead of the town. And then we don't have to run these transmission lines and run them at capacity, and when something happens, we all are out of power. We have to start thinking, and I keep going back to the biblical story, the loaves and the fishes. When we make something big and we start transmitting it out everywhere, we would invariably have a problem. If we would have things everywhere in smaller areas, we're not susceptible. We're more resilient. And we're not reliant on one big power plant, and if it goes down or something happens to it. We got to start thinking. Technology helps us do that. I read an article that the Teslas that we see, and everyone understands that Tesla's got an uproar, but the Tesla batteries that were designed by Elon Musk and the Tesla cars, they're finding out their longevity is far, far greater than they thought they were designed for. So people are buying these, companies are buying these Tesla cars, and they're not buying to drive them. They're buying them to park them and use them as battery electric storage, because they still have another 10, 15 years of life. Not as a car, but as a battery. And it's amazing. So maybe, I hope Tesla has a Powerwall, and I'm not, Generac has a Powerwall. There's other generic Powerwalls for your house. If you had a 10 kilowatt Powerwall in your house, that could get you a day and a half. So if something happens without any power, and that's again the loaves and the fishes. So everyone has the ability to maintain some resiliency, so we're not dependent on one big monolithic power supply and transmission lines. We need to move that direction. Technology pulls us in that direction, and somehow we seem to fight it all the time.
Well, the first place that's going to go is into these companies that are very large. And they are the ones that can afford to put in a substation and bring in a small nuclear reactor to run that substation. And you're talking about plants that are going to be 100 acres, clear up to 500, 600 acres. Those are the first ones that are going to go. Those are the ones that we're going to learn from. When we start to do this in neighborhoods, that could be a totally different situation, because it's going to be very costly to do this house by house, and it's going to stretch out. So as a result of that, and in addition to that, you really don't know the kinds of voltage that some of these places may try to absorb. And that's another trick. But we can certainly get the large plant facilities in a situation where they're generating their own electricity.
And probably a little more to insulate us in case something happens to the power plant, that they could still feed another 100 homes or 200 homes.
Yeah.
Because we've incentivized them to come here and overbuild their power capacity in case something happens. And that's the things we need to think about. And that was the point. I'm not a fan of really all electric cars. I'm a fan of hybrid cars. But if every car, every hybrid car, however many tens of thousands there are, even in Michigan City, had a 20 kilowatt battery in it, and NIPSCO or some power company built a program that says, if you plug your car in and you run your house off your car during the night, we're going to give you a 30% break. People would be willing to, their car's sitting there anyways, it's fully charged, maybe by solar or some other renewable energy during the day. You come home, you plug it in, guess what? NIPSCO or AEP or Duke or whoever doesn't have to produce all that energy for the nighttime use, because your car that you plugged into your house, and that's the beauty of the hybrids and electrics, helps insulate and make you resilient instead of relying on the one power line transmitting hundreds of miles. That's technology and how it works and how we can help ourselves. We don't try to focus everything on one big place where when it goes bad, it goes really bad. Let's insulate ourselves and make ourselves resilient. Elon Musk is doing Starlink, which he's putting satellites. We're doing fiber optic lines in the ground. I think we're missing the whole boat where we could put a Wi-Fi repeater on every utility pole and make a true internet web that is resilient by a tax because you could go around each other and that the trunk line doesn't get destroyed. We could do that very simply. And we don't have people that, I guess, don't look into that, but it's something we need to look at if we're going to look at the future, whether we like it or not. That future's coming. And progress will, you either get along with progress or it runs you over. And it seems like we get run over a lot.
Quite a bit.
So
For the last 50 years.
If you want just to understand how smart Elon Musk is, it's amazing what that man can do. But how many people do you think in the United States can parallel park a car? 50% of their drivers, maybe? 25%?
Yeah, if you're lucky anymore. My kids maybe could. It ain't easy. I could.
Elon Musk has designed a methodology that he can parallel park a rocket. I was amazed.
Yeah,
You
can
have got
catch
to
it.
see this thing. But he won't do it if he's got people inside. But if it's just the rocket that went up and came back down again, it comes down, it hovers, and then he puts it right into the barrel of the launch pad or the launch facility, and it has clamps that come around and hook it, and it's parallel parked.
Yeah, the beauty of Elon Musk, he is a smart guy, but the beauty is he hires very smart people under him.
Yeah.
Hungry, very, very smart people. And you can't believe, and I hate to call them nerds, but you can't believe what computer technical guys will do, or girls, just because they like doing it and they're good at it. He hires those people and they do things that we seem are amazing just because he hired them and gave them the chance to show off what they can do. And boy, they will show you, and it's amazing. The technology they can do, we haven't even scratched the surface. I want to go back to your facilities. If you're looking at getting manufacturing in our area or any area,
If we're going to raise the economic level of Michigan City, we have to. I don't know
Yes.
of any other way of doing it.
We have to look at robotics and
Yeah.
drones.
Yeah.
We have to look past the short-sighted part of yesteryear. In my mind, these data plants have what? Maybe a few people for thousands of hard drives. In my mind, in 5 or 10 years, you're going to have one person that maybe oversees 10 or 20 robots. Because you still have to oversee them.
Yeah.
But the robots will do that job every day and the same thing every day, exactly right. No quality problem. They will just keep doing it. So, but somebody's got to watch them. But we need to get into robots, whether that's robot parts or robot chips or the machines that make robots. We need, and these, you're probably thinking robots that look like people. Yes. In 10 years, you're probably thinking about robots that look like people that can do a multitude of tasks.
And on that point, we've got an individual here in the Michigan City area schools. His name is Kevin McGuire. He's in charge of technology. He's right there. The school system is in negotiation with the Redevelopment Commission for additional fundings for technology. The door is open, and Michigan City is on the doorstep of a technology breakthrough, mainly because of what Kevin is doing.
Kevin has brought more technology in his few years here, whatever, a few more years now,
Yeah.
than we can all ever imagine.
And the spin-off.
No other school district that I know
No one.
has somebody like
Yeah,
McGuire.
no one.
Nobody.
And again, in support of his efforts, again, I'm personally supporting his efforts for additional funding from this commission, to continue to support technology here in Michigan City. We're on the forefront of a potential godsend.
You
so to
talk
speak.
about Wi-Fi. What did Mr. McGuire do? He made Wi-Fi for the school kids in Michigan City. They have access to free Wi-Fi, right? Mm-hmm. He has Wi-Fi on the buildings.
And different sites,
Different areas.
that were low, that had a low capacity.
He did it.
He cranked it up somehow.
He cranked it up, and they got
Maybe
Wi-Fi.
he's our Elon Musk
He is.
of the city of Michigan City.
He's the guy you let go and give him money, and he will produce like you could never imagine. He's the guy.
And again, we have to look to the future, not necessarily what's palatable for today's economy. We have to look at the younger generation and the impressionable minds and how they can contribute.
We not only have to look to the future, we also have to set goals and objectives of when we determine what the future is, as to how we're going to get there. And those objectives are going to have to be met. And if we've got commissions out there where the people aren't meeting those objectives, you got to get them out of here.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I mean, that's the one thing that Trump's noted for. He likes firing people. Ain't fun. But boy, he sure seems to do it. He don't care. He just fires people. Right or wrong, he fires people. And that is an unenviable task for anybody to fire somebody. It's no fun. But, and I don't think it's, in my world, I don't think it's really firing. It's just, it's not working out. This isn't a good fit. You need to go find something that you can be better at, because this is not really what you're best at.
Yeah.
And we need to find somebody that's really good at that. And I think that's what Elon Musk does. He finds people that are really good at something and keeps them going, and doesn't waste his time with people that just not the good fit. I hate to say fired, but just not the best fit. But we're in some exciting times right now in Michigan City. I brought up the Microsoft, we should go get that. We should be on the phone. Valpo released the name of the company that's trying to do it. Get on the phone and call them. NIPSCO is now talking about their decommissioning agreement or changing the plant to be gas run. We have to look at the future in Michigan City to say, we want your plant decommissioned. We want this to be developed and not be a energy producing plant. But we understand you need to say somewhere in LaPorte County, because that's the agreement you wrote. Well, how about right here? We'll help you do it right here.
Yeah.
We want your decommissioned plant. We want the lakefront back. It's worth billions, and at this point, it might be worth $1 trillion. And we could get you to move over here.
Didn't they recently build a Amazon distribution plant in Maryville?
Yes.
They employ, 1,000 jobs or something like that?
Yeah.
It's all around us. It's just, we have to find ways to light the fire underneath some of these individuals who control the finances of the city of Michigan City to pursue bigger and better things. But they're only interested in smaller things.
So the state is going through their, second half of their budget session?
Yeah.
And the Senate passed a bill about the whole property tax relief, and they put out a chart. I found it in Northwest Indian Times, but there's a Senate chart and a breakdown on how much money each community loses. So far, the breakdown so far is LaPorte County would lose $1.4 million in year 1, $2.8 million in year 2, $3.9 million in year 3. Michigan City would be approximate, per the Senate bill, would lose $188,000 in year 1, $363,000 in year 2, $465,000 in year 3. LaPorte City would lose $151,000 in year 1, $310,000 in year 2, $485,000. Michigan City area schools, you'd like this one, would lose $64,000 in year 1, $144,000 in year 2, and $211,000 in year 3. Now, I bring this up because the Senate passed a bill, the House had, I don't think they had something, and the Senate passed that back to the House. The House went back to the Ways and Means Committee, which is this older gentleman, South Indiana. And he had a plan for reducing property tax in Indiana or rechanging it. And it was how many pages long, but it didn't get out of his own committee. Well, now he's in charge of this negotiation of the Senate bill. And you got to check out the articles. It's gotten so convoluted, it's mind-bending. Even the other elected officials don't understand what he's trying to do. And I'm kind of reading the tea leaves. So is this how we do things, that Governor Braun says, I want this reduction, I think 20% or 2021 values, and then it reduced to so much this. Senate does their own thing, the House does their own thing, and it goes back to the House for renegotiation. It's so convoluted. We get to the end of the session. Do they say, and I have no inside information here, do they say, throw their hands up and say, this is just so convoluted, how about we just make a flat sales tax? Now that would be 3D chess. Because I think Indiana, if they went and got rid of property taxes, which I really don't like because you never own your home, that's not fair, to a sales tax where you pay, if you want to spend more, you pay more. And I don't care if it's 10% or 15%. If we could get rid of property tax, and income tax I think will still be there. Is this what happens? I doubt it. I think there's maybe a 1% just would happen, but it sure seems like this whole property tax relief discussion and budgets has gotten convoluted beyond repair.
Another issue on the forefront at the state house level is wheel tax. Do you have any
Yeah, that's what I'm
information?
saying. It's so convoluted because now they want fees and wheel taxes and they want a different appraisal for industrial ground and a different appraisal for, it's so messed up. I can't even follow it. I doubt any state rep or state senator is following this. They're just, their heads are spinning like, what are we going to do? Because everyone's throwing their ideas in this crazy pot of, and they might just throw their hands up and say, fine.
Well, Bob,
Sales tax.
yeah, Bob over there in his stack of stuff, he's got the wheel tax legislation that I provided him today, and he's going to do some research, and maybe next meeting he'll have some more input. But the real wheel tax is ready to be implemented 1st of July, according to that paperwork that I gave to Bob.
Yeah,
Well, if
that's
it
been
passes-
around a while.
If it's,
The
yeah.
wheel tax has been around a while. LaPorte City has a real wheel tax. And when they did it, they thought we're going to get X number of dollars. It's not very much money at all. And I shouldn't say not much money. For them, it's a few $100,000. I think for them, maybe 50 or 75,000. Michigan City is what, maybe $300,000? So are you really going to burden people with a wheel tax for a few $100,000 when you should be looking at a sales tax and just close the hole? Because we've got wheel tax, we've got taxes for pavement, we got tolls on interstates, we've got property taxes, it fees, and it's endless. I think everyone is lost at this point. And we're going to see where it happens, but they have, right? They have to come to something by the end of this budget session.
But if you're going to go with a sales tax, you're going to have to exempt certain things like food and pharmaceuticals
Fine.
and a couple of other things
Fine.
that are absolute basics. The problem with the sales tax is that with the increase we've had in inflation, well, if you take a car for a person to get to work and back, when I was a kid growing up, I paid $300, paid for it over a year's time to have a 6-cylinder Studebaker, got me to work and back, did those things. Today, a decent used car, $22,000. Now you tack another sales tax on that thing. Right now it's 7%, so you're talking about $1,500, $1,600. So you're really talking about $23,500 just to be able to get back and forth to work. You're getting up there pretty high with your sales tax
Because
already.
because we have a tax on gasoline in Indiana is one of the highest. And I think it's backwards. As the price of gasoline goes up, the sales tax keeps going up too. We should have a reverse. If gasoline is expensive, the sales tax should be cheap. If gasoline is cheap, the sales tax should be higher, because that helps people who have to go to work every day, which we all have to go to work. And some students were asking me about roads in the past and how come the original county roads were only 40 foot wide. And I tell them, well, 40 foot wide was pretty wide when you had a carriage and a horse and a buckboard. But nowadays, we want 60 feet wide or 120 feet wide. Michigan City's roads, typical streets were like 66 foot wide, which is really one chain back in the surveying day. So they made it one chain wide. But we have the back end of that is we have to look at the future. 5 or 10 or 20 years down, are we going to be driving cars? Are they going to be driving themselves back and forth to the store to go get us food? Probably. And cars don't need the lane width we got. They run in a very small, narrow lane width, and they know what they're doing. They don't have to worry about people on the phone or having something to eat or just kind of going in the next lane. That's hard to think about 5, 10, 20 years from now when we think, well, we got to do this. Oh, double track, we got to do double track, and we don't think 20 years from now, are we even going to have any trains? I don't know. But that's a hard leap, almost impossible leap to make and find out what's going on. That's why I bring up sales tax. You know you're always going to spend money one way or another. And if you got to exempt somebody with a low income or you exempt milk and bread and eggs, so be it. That's fine. But it's a lot better than trying to piece together a wheel tax, a gas tax, a fee for this or a fee for that, or you got to have a security fee, or whatever they're going to make up, because it makes it, I guess the accountants love it, huh? Mm-hmm. You're constantly fighting, like our taxes we're doing right now, you're constantly fighting about how do I pay, what tax am I supposed to pay, how much do I owe at the end of the year. It's so convoluted, you get lost.
What was the intent of bringing this picture?
I just had that,
Wait a
because
minute
that
now.
came up.
I got one solution
Uh-oh.
for Tony's situation, but it's a small one, but it's the first one. And we haven't heard anything about this. The money that we're going to lose, remember, the state owes us, and they have to take it from Gary, $6.1 million, as I understand it. So as a result of that, that's more than going to make up for what we're going to lose there. But I don't know what the hell happened to it.
Yeah, right there. State control panel OK's fix for state controller's error affecting 3 region cities. Yeah, they're going to owe us a bunch of money, and that's not just one payment. That's going forward. That money that we didn't get for 3 years, we get more money, which I don't know where it goes. I think it goes to redevelopment.
Oh, no, it couldn't.
No, it's a fund that
That the redevelopment commission controls.
that the city council and the mayor
Okay.
control.
I just had this because there was discussion, I think in Northwest Indiana Times, about Mayor Angie says that they're getting close to have a developer do this, and they haven't announced it yet, because you can go to the city's website, there's an RFP, which brings you up all the information you need for that area up there. The only thing that I don't like about this is the memorial was not this all area. This area had a lot of houses that we tore down. I thought we should just put the houses back. Single family houses work out the best.
Okay, I'm on the other side on this one. If we're going to build housing, we should build it on the south side of Michigan City, in areas that have never been used, because that's where you're going to get the cheapest situation. You don't have to worry about what's underneath. How was, in terms of pollution, what is underneath? Was there an old gas station there and the tanks are still under the ground? What else was there? Put it on the south side, and you can build the housing cheaper than you can on the north side of Michigan City, which is why when it comes to the prison situation, I want us to take that one situation at a time, starting, in my opinion, with a hotel or something like that, and you clean up the area underneath before you build it. And as you go along, you clean up the area underneath before you build it. You put 360 houses up someplace, and all of a sudden they decide, my God, there's toxic chemicals 2 feet down. You got a huge problem. And that's what's going to happen if we go in there and try to mass build. I think that we should take this very slow, and I think that we should take it to the south side of the city, and then you can do what's going on right out there right now, where they're building approximately 200 houses just close to the high school, but they're building it on land that only was ever used for farming, so it might have some kind of herbicide or pesticide underneath, but it doesn't have a major environmental problem underneath.
I didn't think about the prison site. There was a meeting, which one of the things I didn't go because I didn't want to go. I teach a lab and lecture at Purdue on Tuesday, Thursday, so I couldn't make the meeting, but I agree. The prison site needs to be a slow and thorough plan, and I didn't think about this now, because Dave knows that maybe we ought to dig out whatever's contaminated.
You got to do soil
and keep
boring.
digging and let it be lake or a bay, and we have boat docks in there, because it's right there by the lake. The lake could feed the water, and the contaminants are gone, but we don't need to replace anything. Just leave it lake.
I was watching the Redevelopment Commission meeting, and something interesting came up, the You Are Beautiful property. And they're still seeking financing.
How about they removed utilities?
Yeah, utilities have now been, NIPSCO utilities have been separated, so I mean,
Really?
yeah, that's been taken care of.
I saw the fence, but I didn't see anything there.
But something interesting came up. The Redevelopment Commission is temporarily loaning the acreage that the You Are Beautiful property is going to be built on. They're loaning it on a temporary basis to the individual doing the You Are Beautiful project, so that he can utilize the land value as an asset to obtain financing. That is where they're setting right now. They will eventually, once financing is obtained, they will eventually get this land back, whether it's done through a quick claim deed, or I don't know how they're going to do it. But they're talking about supporting the developer, or You Are Beautiful, with the land value, so that he then can go to the banks and have some means of support to obtain his financing. Creative financing, I don't think revolves around quick claim deeds, but it was.
Well, if they're going to get this land back, that's a lease. That's not a sale.
No, it's not a temporarily granting this property to the owners of You Are Beautiful,
But once
so they
that-
can obtain financing. They'll get it back.
Once they start to build on there, the developer or whoever is doing the building has to own that land because
They're
you're
going to have to buy. In my mind, they're going to have to buy that land.
Oh, yes.
We can't right
That
now.
would be the normal way.
Right, that's normal. But right now, again, this is the redevelopment commission. Watch the meetings, people. I don't dream this stuff up. They're going to loan the acreage to the developer to enable him to obtain his financing that he needs.
But if people are going to buy into those units, they have to know that the condominium association will be the owner of that land. As a result of that, that land will not be something that in 30 years or 50 years will revert back to the city or the redevelopment.
They have to know they
commission.
have to pay off the land because he didn't pay them yet.
In my mind, if the developer doesn't have tangible resources in order to make this thing happen, according to what I heard, by May, supposedly the groundbreaking is going to take place on You Are Beautiful by May. That's the cutoff date, supposedly, according to Skylar York.
Well, Mayor Angie's been on it. She put her foot down. She's not waiting around.
My question is, why would somebody even think about that?
See, my brain hurts. I don't know what to think about that because that is a spaghetti bowl of disastrous legal paperwork.
Are we going to?
And so the project can't even get off the ground if they don't get the land, if they don't get the
Free
value of
and
the land
clear.
free.
Yeah,
So are these people even financially capable?
that's my point.
Because what just happened a few days ago, or 2 days ago, or yesterday, apartment complexes being built in South Bend caught fire, and they were being built by Flaherty and Collins. Huh. I know what's going on.
I'm just saying, if the redevelopment commission is going to continue to finagle ways, what value are they?
Well, it sounds like a legal mess.
Yeah, I'm thinking
What
the
a
same thing.
disaster.
If you
So
get
what if
that
you-
right.
If you doubt my word, watch the last
Well, I know,
redevelopment
but-
commission meeting.
What happens? We got another ice cream parlor. How long did that go over? 10 years?
Yeah.
And they couldn't. And the city didn't own any part of that, but they couldn't get the guy to finish it.
But
Okay, guys,
that's
we need some good news.
good news.
Okay.
Yes. If you take a look at the South Shore Station and what is going on there, they have really got this thing going along, and it's got to be at least 70 to 75% completed. It will be a real positive when that is done for the downtown of Michigan City. And I'm thinking that within the next 3 or 4 months, the only thing left will be to dig that facade out of wherever we stored it and put the front facade on, and we're going to be all set.
Will the public have access to drive into that parking garage, or do they have to pay to get in, or
Well,
what?
they have access after. South Shore has first dibs during the day, and then we have access at night.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I hope people don't try to find a place to live in there.
Well, no. But what I was thinking,
That'll be next.
I was thinking of 4th of July fireworks. That would be a unique place to
It would
watch the
be.
fireworks. You know.
Would be. They should sell tickets. We got 5 minutes left. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
what the
there's
sad-
Andy. Oh,
the
wow.
sad part about the South Shore building and the facade's beautiful and marble, but I remember what that place looked inside, and it was gorgeous. That old train station was just beautiful inside.
Yeah.
And that got gone, but at least we got the facade.
The only thing that wasn't beautiful about it was you had to pay a nickel to use the restroom.
And I still have in my possession. Those paid toilet little bitty.
yeah?
I've got 2 or 3 of them at home.
And the restroom on the train, where'd that go? Onto the tracks.
Yeah.
I always thought that when I was a kid, and I remember you go to the restroom and you flush the toilet and you get to see the tracks.
So was that a long time ago?
Yeah, that was scary.
Again, sometime in April, we will have the Michigan City High School Band program on the show. It encompasses the director and the 2 co-directors from Krieger and from Barker. And so if three of them and three of us, one of us is going to have to take a rain check. Bob already agreed to take a rain check so that this table can accommodate the three people. So Tony,
Yep.
put
Sounds
your band helmet on, and I did a little personal note about the mental gymnastics of what a member of a band must be. You talk about athletes. The band members are also athletes, but they're not physical athletes. They're mental athletes. And you got to be pretty
If you're
sharp.
in a marching band, you need to be an athlete,
Yeah, that's-
especially if you play a tuba
That's
or
right.
a bass drum.
And the program, what I heard last night was the program is on verge to be recognized at the state level, competitive level, because they've progressed so far in these last 3 years.
We gotta be quick because we got St. Patty's Day. And we got a parade. You won't watch this on Saturday morning. We got a parade Saturday at 1 o'clock, right? So it's going to be windy, but it shouldn't be stormy. And
Didn't they say bad weather is coming?
Yeah, we got bad weather tonight on Friday night. We taped this on Friday night, but tomorrow, Saturday, is going to be really windy, like 60-mile-an-hour wind, but not really bad weather and storms and rain, just really windy. So maybe it'll push us down Franklin Street.
Oh, we're getting down to the last 2 minutes, Bob. Complimentary close?
Yeah, and start to think about the summer in Michigan City,
Oh,
because there's
yeah.
going to be a lot of great things going. I like our director that they hired for the city that dreams these things up, and it's obviously going to start down here with the sand sculpture
Terry?
and go from there.
Terry.
Terry Greetham.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, take advantage of Michigan City in the summertime. It's great.
Yep, here we go. This is a St. Patty's Day. This is the kickoff, and Terry does a good job. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, the closing statement. I could sing, "Oh, do drums go banging, as the cymbals clang, and the horns they play away, oh, flattery toots his tuba, and I the pipes I
Don't
play."
sing.
Don't. I'm repeating. That's all I can't say. Hennessy, Tennessee, toodles his flute, and the music is something grand. A tribute to Old Ireland and McNamara's band. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of this show is greatly appreciated. Please contact show's co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailhem@yahoo.com. Or you may address your ideas for any future shows to our one and only pain in the neck staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m. and numerous times on Channel 99 when people have nothing else to watch but our show. I want to thank everybody for watching. Oh, and don't forget Navigate News and Views for those who are computer literate. Navigate News and Views on, was it Yahoo?
YouTube.
On YouTube, and you'll see, I think we've got probably about 15 shows already on there. I want to thank everybody for watching, and make it a good day.